So they are amazing birds, superlative flyers, mesmerising, and you see the colours changes when you look at them in different angles of light. As you all know, hummingbirds don't get their colours from pigments, it's from interference colours. The feather structures break up the light, enhancing some and stopping others coming to the fore, which is why you see these vivid colours. And you know, I must say, in Colombia, some of my most fabulous moments have been with them. They're an incredible group of birds. But of course, when we go on these trips, we have to rely on local experts. I can't go and find all of the birds and the snakes on my own. So we always meet local people. This is Sergio Ocampo, who runs a bird watching tour company there. And he's come up with an absolutely amazing technique to attract antpitters. Now, antpitters are extremely difficult birds to see in the wild. They're, you know, very high up there on birds that birders want to see. And we wanted to film them in a very special way. You can see the cameraman here, Mike Hutchinson. He's got a low pro camera. Anyone can buy them. They're only a few £100, but you can get incredibly good images with them, high definition images that are very good for transmitting on television. And you can get them in places that would be impossible to get other cameras, and we really wanted to show these antpitters in a strange way. They're found in the Rio Blanco Reserve, which is in the central Andes, near the town of Manizales in Colombia. And if you go to Manizales, in the waterworks there, lyre-tailed nightjars. They're nightjars with tails that are that long, live in the waterworks. So that's another thing that we include in the show. There's some incredible birding stories in Colombia. But we buried this camera in the soil, and you'll see in a minute how they attract the birds in, how they can get these very, very glorious views of antpitters. And we buried the camera underground in the soil, make sure that the lens isn't covered, and then we threw worms around the lens. It's a very wide-angle lens, so you can see the bird in great detail if it gets really close. And I say the next clip of film shows these antpitters joining us for breakfast. That's us looking at the footage after we've taken it. But this is the footage that we got with that camera and me talking about these rare antpitters. Rio Blanco Reserve in the Colombian Andes. I'm with Park Ranger Alvaro to deliver some worms.
Alvaro's whistling in some very special creatures. Some Colombian ornithologists have nicknamed them huevos con patas, which means eggs with legs. Alvaro really knows these birds well. This chestnut-crowned antpitter has been coming for breakfast for over 3 years. He's called it Panchito. It's not just antpitters that come for breakfast. This is a green black-throat eater, a female. Just over there.
As their name suggests, these birds eat mainly ripe fruit and berries, but they won't turn down a treat like this. No sooner than one guest leaves, another arrives.
This is the brown-banded antpitter. This is the rarest antpitter. It's only only found in Colombia. There's less than 2,000 remaining.
Unless they come regularly to feeding stations like this, antpitters are notoriously difficult birds to see well.
The brown-banded antpitter is critically endangered because it can only survive in pristine forests like this one. In the central Andes, most of the natural forest below 3,300 metres has been cleared for agriculture. Their home has been destroyed.
Lovely, lovely birds, antpitters, and I say Rio Blanco, and there's other places in Colombia where you can do that, and Ecuador as well, where they're used to coming to feed on worms. Otherwise they're skulking birds of the forest floor and you never get to see them. But again, a wonderful experience. Now, one of the reasons that the forest is, their habitat is being destroyed is because of coffee. Colombia is the second exporter of coffee, only Brazil produces more. But if coffee plantations are run well, you can still get great wildlife there, and there's a fantastic story coming up soon about protection of birds in the coffee region. But the great thing about when we're making our films is I never know what's going to happen, so we can include things in the series that we come across as we're moving along. And we were walking in this old coffee plantation. It had been specially managed for birds, so it was a very, very special place. And then look on top of this bamboo pole here. The guide pointed it out to us, and I saw it as well. And it is a fantastic common potu, a night bird. But during the day, they're so confident in their camouflage that they sit out in the open. You can see it just looks like an extension of that bamboo pole. They're a bit like nightjars. They fly around trawling. They've got a big mouth with bristles on, and they fly in the night sky trawling around for insects. They've got a really eerie cry. In Colombia, they used to think there were witches in the forest, but in fact it was the sound of the common potu. And even today, some of the local people don't believe a bird could make such an extraordinary cry, and they think the sound is made by sloths in the forest. But, you know, it's a wonderful sequence in the film where I get close to this. Of course, they don't fly away because they're confident in their camouflage, and we could get a lovely sequence of film of these. But in the coffee region, near Medellin, there's a place called Rio Claro. We'd heard about it. Birders go there to see another tremendous night bird. I'd seen it before in Trinidad and Tobago, but not in these numbers. And for me, this was definitely in the top 3 bird spectacles that we saw in Colombia. They were birds that in the past people thought they never saw daylight. It's only recently that they've discovered, by putting radio transmitters on them, they found that these wonderful birds actually only go back to their caves where they live every second or third day. Other times they spend roosting high in the forest canopy, so they do see daylight, but in the past scientists thought they never saw the light of day because during the day they were deep in caves and they only came out at night. But this is a wonderful spectacle that, you know, in my films, what I try to show is anyone can go and see these wonderful creatures. It's not a film crew being in a tent for 300 days waiting for a piece of behaviour. This is stuff that you can all go and see, and if you get the chance to go to Colombia, I'd say it's very safe now, and there's some incredible things to see that you can only have seen in the last 3 or 4 years, because before that it was too dangerous to go there. But this next clip is something I will never forget, the caves in Rio Claro. A souvenir for me, a feather of the creature I've come here to see. There they are, all around. This is a fabulous experience. The artillery flying above the oil birds in England. A pretty big bird with a wingspan of about a metre. And you can listen to that vocabulary sound, they're calling, but they're also clicking at the same
parrots, bouncing back off objects ahead of them to manoeuvre in the dark.
They often see me going wild, and I always have a resolution that they're really sensitive and well.
They can certainly help the birds find fleshy fruits out in the forest. A wade in a chilly stream will get them to the heart of the oil bird colony.
There's a couple of nests up there. I think I believe it to be a chick.
Oil birds usually have 2 babies. In the weeks before fledging, the chubby chicks can weigh twice as much as their parents.
They need to develop a lot of fruit to grow to that size. When they leave the nest,
They'll have lost most of their puppy fat.
these birds get their name because sadly in the past the big fat chicks were harvested for their oil.
Unfortunately, despite being protected now, they're still in decline because the forests they rely on for food are being felled.
They're really active. You do about 10 minutes. They're leaving if they learn them to go out into the forest to forage for fruit.
An unbelievable spectacle, and those blood-curdling sounds that you hear when they're in there. And I say they're like bats. They're one of the few birds. Cave swiftlets can do it as well. They can navigate in pitch darkness by using an echolocation device. And I say this, talking about the crew, this is Alex Minton, who works in my office. He does the research, comes with me, and is also the sound recordist. We don't have a sound recordist with us, so he's putting a radio mic onto me now. And we are in a place with wax palms. This is Colombia's national tree. It's the largest palm on earth. They can grow over 30 metres. It's a huge palm. And we'd heard of an incredible story between the wax palm and one of Colombia's most fabulous birds, a type of parrot. There's an incredible conservation organisation there called Pro Aves. Robert Giles, I think, who was helped set up that organisation, who set up the organisation, is in the audience. And without giving too much away, there was a connection between the palm trees and the parrots. And nobody really knew what was going on until there was only 81 of these parrots left in the whole world, and none of them were breeding. So Pro Aves had to do an incredible conservation campaign to help bring these parrots back from the brink of extinction. And that's why this bird fair is great. That's why all the work that Tim and Martin does is fantastic. You hear so much depressing news about conservation, but it is not too late. Many of these animals, with the right money, with the right research, with the right reserves, they can be brought back from the brink of extinction. And on all of my travels, you know, I'm seeing this going on. Of course, I'm not saying there's no problems in the world, but if the money's put in the right place, if research is done, it is not too late now to save these fabulous animals that we still have. This is a Pro Aves researcher who took me to see these rare parrots. And again, anyone can do it. You can go on a bird tour and see these amazing birds. You know, Mike Hutchinson here, you can see the palms behind him. He managed to get amazing shots of these lovely parrots. So here's a story, one that I'm very proud of in the film, and I was so excited to be able to show it to the world. What a wonderful job has been done out there by Pro Aves in Colombia. So this is the story of the parrots and the palms.
Colombia's national tree only grows in the Andes. It's the wax palm. Over 50 metres high, these are the tallest palms on earth. Their natural wax has been used to make candles, and their leaves have been stripped for Palm Sunday celebrations. The palms began to die off at an alarming rate, which caused problems for birds who rely on the older trees for nesting. Pro Aves provided alternative nest sites on young trees and worked with the Catholic Church to outlaw collecting fronds for Easter.
The birds are really cutting it fine. It's nearly getting dark now. Fingers crossed, they're going to come into roost soon.
Here they come, the birds we've been waiting for, yellow-eared parrots. They're circling around. Hopefully they'll come to these closer palms and maybe even to the nest box.
In the late 1990s, before pro-owners started protecting wax palms, there were only 81 yellow-eared parrots left. Now they're still very rare, but the numbers are increasing. There's around 1,000 of them.
They're coming right towards us. I think they're going to the nest box.
Wonderful. These handsome parrots are only found here in Colombia.
They're so prosperous views. Richest grasses.
I'm so glad that the tale of the parrot and the palm tree has a happy ending.